All right, my friends, it's Jason Morton here with Happy Home Computers at 1628 East 6th Street, Pueblo, Colorado, 81001. I wanted to tell you guys why Halloween is very sad for me. And I got out all the crying I'm going to do and the being angry about stuff by listening to music last night that brings feelings up because of the words that the lyrics that are in the music have special meaning to me. And I posted all of them to Facebook, from YouTube, and added them into my playlist, even though I've already extracted all of them long time ago from the internet and put them onto a hard drive. I've got over 1,000 MP3 and MP4 videos from the internet, the ones that I wanted, so I don't have to. But everything's on the internet now, so you don't really have to do that. It's just if you're going to sell it to people, or like I do, at $1 a video or $1 a CD, there's a reason I got 5,000 and something CDs. And you can look, I put it on Facebook. I posted a picture of all of the covers, and I've got almost 4,000 movies, and I put all of those on the internet, on the dark web, long time ago. Martha was, and all the rest of them were wondering, probably, I'm sure, why is this guy doing all of this? Because she only saw me making stuff and creating stuff, and she was watching me for the FBI and the sheriff's office and reporting me to the PD, and she had no clue what we were doing, because we were watching them. She just never asked questions, and that was smart of her, because that would have aroused my suspicions. But at the same time, she did stuff that would go to the store for 2 hours, then come back with one bag of groceries and tell me, she was shopping. I don't know what she thought, that I was an idiot. Sometimes she just made me laugh, but she was being used. I was being used. Everybody's being used for something. Now, if I'm using you, it's to get you something. It's to get you some help. It's to get things done. If I threatened you, or if I threatened fucking cops, or if I threatened the mental hospital, or if I threatened the VA with lawsuits, or if I threatened this person with the neighbor, that's because I want them to fix what they're doing. It doesn't necessarily really mean I was going to do what I said I was going to do. I just was manipulating them into doing what I wanted them to do. And I've been doing this a long time. And I can't change who I am. So I stay to myself. Everybody wondered why I stopped going to the bars. And I let them know because Martha was turning people in for doing drugs and certain other stuff. Like when I went to the underground poker games, anything that weren't ran by the Italians, they were shut down. Any place that I found out what they were doing and it wasn't sanctioned by the government, and you don't want to know how much is really being done by the government. Stay away from it. Stay away from the dark web. Don't ask people questions that, like I said, going to erase suspicions, and then you're going to be tracked and followed, and you're being listened to. Yesterday, the phone popped up and said, do you want to install Contra, Microsoft's new listening software, the same as Google has theirs, Yahoo has theirs, but they say right in the, and I'll post it, they say right in the description that they're recording and listening, and then when it found out that there was no microphone inside my TV. It said, "We can't hear you." And I took a picture of it to show you guys. But my phone didn't say that when my phone got on to Contra, because the phone and the internet are connected. Anything that's online, anything that's hooked to the internet is connected. And a lot of other things are connected in ways that you don't want to know. And if I told you before, it would have just made me sound mental. But I tried to explain to you and show you. That way I could prove to you guys. And I told you, just listen. Don't comment on my stuff. Don't, unless you're a friend of mine, which is cool. Real friend, I should say. Because most of the people just want to use me for information or to fix their shit, but they don't realize that I'm using them at the same time to look through their stuff. Let's get back to why today is so depressing to me. In 2007, like I was telling you guys, Martha came and found me down at the Grove and was watching and reporting everything that I did for the FBI, but she was sent by the sheriff's office because I was up in the sheriff's office and I told the people in the sheriff's office some top secret information, just like I did in 2001 in the Springs jail, and they told it to the police. And that was done on purpose. I set all that up. They thought, this guy's just nuts, which, of course, things I said were going to sound nuts to a person who doesn't know the truth. And I never went straight to the sheriff's officers and told them who I was or what I did. I always went through other criminals because they couldn't use it in court. It's inadmissible. And then the cops, couldn't get in trouble. But this time I wasn't playing. When I went to jail, I told the cops, everything that you're reading and everything that you're looking at, I will have you subpoenaed to come to court and testify for me. And then they stopped looking at my paperwork. Just made me laugh. Anyway, when I was in Korea in 98 to 99, one of the vehicles went off the bridge and a bunch of my friends died. Well, it was a top secret mission, and I jumped off that bridge between North and South Korea to save them on October 31st in the freezing cold. And the government doesn't want me to tell you this, but I don't care anymore. I'm not going to feel bad about things anymore. I'm not going to let them make me out to be the crazy person when everybody that knows me knows I don't lie. Me lying is me not telling you something. Me telling you something is going to sound more like a lie than any other thing that I can do. And that's the way they want it. Don't think that Facebook's putting out all that propaganda for no reason. Lots of stuff has been put out, but people believe in aliens, people believe in Getty, people believe in the devil, God, Loch Ness Monster, but you tell them that there's a secret society running things. Sorry to tell you, it's true. And it goes all the way to the top. And I wanted to act like I didn't know that, but I know it. And it seems bipolar because I flip back and forth on things and I tell people, but that's just the way I was trained, so you would never know. And I knew I was going to the mental hospital. I posted it 4 years ago, exactly the way things were going to happen, the way it was going to work. And you can look onto Facebook and see that I did. And why do you think I did it? Ask yourself why. I wasn't lying. Everything I said was going to happen, happened. And it's not because I'm a damn psychic. I'm a damn analyst. I analyze everything. And then I figure out what's real, what's not real, what's true, what's being made up. I told you guys, and I can see and hear into the internet because I know what's really actually happening. I went and talked to a guy today, and I told him who I was, Captain Jason Morton, Military Intelligence, the creator of Homeland Defense, and he would not look me in the eyes when he wanted to talk to me. I don't appreciate people who won't be straight with me when they want me to do something for them. You know, he wanted me to take a look at his computer and fix it. But like I told him, I'm going to be searching through it to see what you're doing. And he said, go ahead. But he doesn't realize, you know, there's a lot more going on the internet than anybody wants to admit. I can't give you guys any real pictures or videos that are going to get my people in trouble. But I did threaten them with showing all of that stuff and showing what was up in space in order for them to get them to do what I wanted them to do, which is help the people. I really have only ever wanted them to help the people. I don't care about the money. I didn't even care about being recognized for it. It's not what I care about. And I don't know how to explain to you guys how I got this way. And I'll try sometime to explain to you, you know, but it's just going to sound freaking made up. But I've never told anybody anything inside or outside my house that I wasn't supposed to tell them. And the government knows because they're watching me. I haven't told anybody inside my house or on my phone or anything else. I've only tried to figure out what they know. I can't help who I am. But I'm not going to go out as crazy disabled veteran guy after all the things I've done for this country. I'm done doing that. I'm done looking crazy on video. I'm done fucking chasing people across the street with weapons back into their house. You know, I'm done taking on cops so that I could get in with criminals. I want to help good people, but I'm sick of all the fake people that are coming to see me. But at the same time, I was fake, so I couldn't blame them. I only had to find out who was sending them and what they wanted and what they were looking for. Because all the agencies don't work together as they're supposed to. You know, they do and they don't. Collectively, the agencies work together. Individually, people are being watched because people can't be trusted because of what we've caught them doing. Now, if I told you who ran this country, you would just think this guy's making shit up. But I'm not. Ask yourself, why on everything? Why would this be happening? Why would that be happening? And then do some deductive reasoning. Don't just believe whatever you're frickin' told. People are having issues nowadays with faith. They don't want to believe in God. They only want to believe in what they see. Well, not everything that you see is real either. Videos being manipulated, photos are being manipulated. I tried to explain this to you guys, that there's hidden stuff within the photos, there's hidden stuff within the videos. And we're doing it on purpose, so that you would never know the truth when you see and hear it. You will always think Well, that's probably a conspiracy. That's a conspiracy. Everything's a conspiracy. Well, my friends that died in Korea, it's not a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy to cover up why they died, but it's not a conspiracy that they died. I've got, I didn't make any of that up. I've got the documents to prove it, but none of it's on the internet. None of the stuff that I told you is out there, and it's not going to be. And the president's not going to tell you. Military's not going to tell you. They're not going to take responsibility for everything. That's why the government's set up the way it's set up. So if something happens, the whole government as one doesn't get taken down. You know, PD can go down. And like I told the sheriff's officers, I was going to find out which one of them did it. If it was the sheriff's officers or if it was the PD. Because PD blamed the sheriff's office and sheriff's office blamed the PD. Judge Valerie Haynes looked right at me and said, please, Mr. Morton, don't do anything to us. Because she didn't know who I was at first when Jefferson got the restraining order on me. But after I went in and gave her top secret paperwork after that first initial meeting that we had for his restraining order, because he put a restraining order against me first. And then when I went in, I was my own lawyer. I went pro se and defended myself January 23rd. And the cop stood up on the stand and said that I threatened to shoot him and that he was scared out of his mind. And I never threatened him at all. I stood up and I cross-examined him and I told him, are you sure that's what I said? And he said, yeah, I know what you said. I mean, I was scared out of my mind. I'll never forget it. And he said, we got it, all on video. And I said, I know. I got it on video too. So I know what I said. I said, you sure I didn't say next time I'll have my weapon right where you can see it? And he said, no, you threatened to shoot us. Well, when the judge found out that Jefferson Benfield Stewart was a sex offender, and he's a confidential informant for the sheriff's office. I weren't sure if he was one for the PD or the sheriff's office, which one of them did it at that time. But too many weird things were happening. And that's why I said, you got to ask yourself why. Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Why were they watching my Facebook and waiting till Veterans Day when they knew that I would be at my worst to kill this sex offender who's taking video footage over my fence of my daughter? And my dogs caught him out there, and I went out there, and at first, he had his camera up over my fence, and then by the end of the video, he was on the other side and was just holding it up over the fence when I jumped up on the woodpile and I slapped it out of his friggin' hands. But he's lucky that I didn't run through that fence and kill his ass, because they know what I'll do to a sex offender. I've been turning these bastards in, and sexual predators, sex traffickers, people on the internet since, like I said, 2011, when I stopped going out and investigating certain things in Pueblo that the government wanted me to investigate. I've been doing my own work. I don't want to work for them. I don't want it. I'm done. I'm done feeling bad about lying. And it's only a lie because I've never told people the real truth. The real, not telling somebody something. And that's why I put out on Facebook. Is it the same as lying? Well, technically, that's where I have a battle there. I got two sides. Like I said, I got my Indian side and I've got my Italian side. Well, the Italians run this bitch. Go all the way up the chain and follow things. And you're going to see that the banks don't belong to the government. Who do the banks belong to? And you're going to see that it all leads back to the church. And I'm telling you, you're going to find out history books. There's a lot of stuff they didn't tell you in the Bible. There's lots of stuff they don't tell you. There's lots of parts missing. There's lots of stuff Vatican's never going to tell you. You know, you see on the psychologists, you know, freaking all these people that say, well, he's bipolar. No, I'm not bipolar. Bipolar is when you hear things, see things, make stuff up. I don't see things or hear things. Yeah, I make shit up. I've come up with a lot of stuff to manipulate people and to find out what people are doing and turn the sickos and the bastards and the gross shit and all that, ones that deserve to go to jail, put them into the place they deserve to be. But the problem is, when I got in jail in 2001 for the first time, I noticed that nobody in jail in Colorado Springs was from Colorado Springs. They were from all over the place. And I got in trouble my first time for a DUI. And when I went in there, I was in the population, and I do what I always do. I just watch and figure out what's going on, what's being done, what can we fix, just like I always have. I got out of the jail and I made a report and gave it to the Department of Defense on a website that I made and posted to AOL. At that time, there was only dial-up modems, and you know, everybody used AOL, and there was only MySpace out there. I was looking for my best friend Christopher Herzig, and I found him on MySpace, but I couldn't find him on the rest of the internet. So I thought, well, I should make a site for the military where I can find all my brothers and sisters, and we can keep track of where they are and what they're doing. Well, I called it My Book, and then I changed the name to My Face, and Karen Morton can tell you that I made this thing because I showed it to her. I posted each picture at a time, and I put a paragraph word of what was happening in the picture. And this was before, like I said, this was before you could just take video and plug it in and extract it, you know, to the internet, because it was very difficult back then to do any of that. They had the recorders, but you had to take it from tape, transfer it to digital. You know, it wasn't like it is now where everything's digital. And there's a reason that everything's digital. And there's a reason that everything's being kept track of. Everything's being watched. I'm part of that reason. And it would sound just nuts if I told you all the things I came up with. But I don't care anymore. Nobody has a sexual predator threaten my kid. And these sheriff's officers didn't know who I was. They do now. And I mean, they know kind of that I'm somebody, but they didn't know who I work for, or technically the one person up in the DOD that really knows my true identity. And that's like, even I told Martha, what's the best kind of spy? The kind that nobody knows and would never ever know that you're a spy. I mean, we have people all the way back to the 1700s that were doing stuff you wouldn't have known anything about it, and they're not going to tell you anything about it. Back then, you'd have to basically write everything down in a book. Nowadays, I can put everything straight onto the internet, and they can't lie and manipulate the internet. Not the way I've set things up, because I've already put things there in advance to make sure that if they tried to falsify anything or change things like they did in that video where the cops came into my house and they cut off the first 10 minutes of the video because they didn't want people seeing what I told them in the video, and then it cuts from in my house to or him showing up to straight to him being on my porch and me telling him that I'll shoot a son of a bitch that comes over my fence, which is true. Everything on my land's posted private property. Don't come over my fence. I got top secret information that, I've already moved, but that's because I can't trust the people that were coming in. When I became my own, computer business, and the city was trying to get me out of my house, thinking, well, they'll never zone and license that guy for computers. He's going to have to move and go find a better place, because they didn't believe, I could make that happen on the east side, but they didn't know who the fuck I was. I made it happen. Sheriff's office since 2007, when I went in and I told each person individually in 4C, which is the mental ward part, because they always stick me in the mental ward part when I go into jail, because they don't want people talking to me. They put me in 23-hour lockdown, 1 hour out, but I go to each person's door and I tell them, I'm Captain Jason Morton, military intelligence. I'm here to watch these cops. Is there anything that you want to tell me, that they're doing, or anything that you need that you're not getting? Because like I told you, years and years ago, they used to just come in and beat the crap out of you with the, batons. They didn't write reports. They didn't do any of the stuff that we do now to keep you in jail longer. They just came in and beat the crap out of you. Well, you had to threaten to sue them to fix that. You had to threaten to out them for these other things if they didn't do that. That's why I told them what to do, and they went and did it. Now, there's no coming back. There's no coming back from what I've done. I've felt bad about things for a long time, because like I said, those guys who went off the bridge in Korea that I tried to save, that didn't have to happen. We had probably 4 hours of sleep in 3 days. The government said the laterals broke on the tank, and that's why it made a left and went straight off the bridge, but that's not what happened. The driver fell asleep, and the 5 guys in the back, because the driver and the TC I saved because they were in their hatches when the vehicle hit the water. But the guys in the back, all the hatches were locked. The top hatches were locked. The back door was locked. And they drowned and died. I tried to get them. It's like my Vietnam brothers and everything else, like I was trying to explain to you guys back on my Facebook. War is difficult. To watch people die And it's a different story when somebody is shooting at you and you know it's either you or them than it is when something is an accident and somebody doesn't have to, it didn't have to happen. But I had to stand up in front of their mothers and fathers, tell them I did everything I could to save them, which isn't true. I could have went higher and told the higher ups, we need to wait, give it more time to do this movement. But you don't question the authorities when you're told to do an order. But some orders are unlawful. Just like my first sergeant at 112 Infantry at Fort Carson gave me an unlawful order to drive in from off post drunk. You know, I swore after what happened in Korea that I wouldn't let that happen again. I would stand up to them, no matter what it took, and fight. Well, that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to stand up. I'm done. Acting like crazy disabled veteran. I'm done. Acting like I don't know what's going on out there, what you're doing, what's up in space, what's underground, what's in the water. I can't show you guys anything because I'm not letting them frickin' do that to my kid. Threaten me all you want. I'm ready to die. That's not a problem. I've kicked people's doors down, went in and take their weapons, flushed their drugs down the toilet. You don't want to know all the things that I've done. I'm ready to die anytime. Everything I say is not a joke. It's not a lie. I'm not bipolar. I'm not seeing things and hearing things. The only way they can get you to it's a tactic, and I already knew it was coming. I knew years ago it was coming. And I think they knew too because, like I said, when I got out of the military, they tried to kick me out. They didn't want to pay me. They tried to get me kicked out because I wasn't going back to Iraq the second time. And I told the first sergeant that I would go back as the armor because I have a top secret security clearance for weapons. For weapons for this planet, space. And you say, well, what weapons do we got up in space? We got lots of weapons up in space. Stuff you've never seen before. Look into 3rd and 73rd Armor, the only airborne armored tank battalion in the world. I wasn't a tanker. Tankers are fucking idiots. I'm brilliant, but I don't show anybody how smart I am. I act stupid. I'm supposed to. I was dyslexic all the way up until I was 9 years old. I stayed back in the 5th grade. Doesn't make me, you know, it's not schools, stores, churches, banks, insurance companies. Everything's related. Nothing is a coincidence. You're set up from the day that you're born. You know, we're not going to let all those illegal aliens into this country for no reason. Government wants to know who they all are, what they know, what they do, how much money they got, what we can use them for. You know, and if you're not going to make us money the legal way, then we're going to take the money out of you another way. And government don't care about drugs. war on drugs is bullshit. Government started fucking. Look back. Go way back to Indians. Government put them on alcohol, put them on reservations, didn't want them to stand up and fight back, so they gave them alcohol, tobacco. They wouldn't give them firearms because they knew they'd use the firearms against them. And that's what they're worried about with me, that I'm going to take the firearms and I'm going to give them to people to use against the government. But I already warned the government a long time ago that it was going to be veterans that are going to stand up against them. I wasn't joking. And how did I know all that? Well, I looked into a lot of things while they thought that I was just sitting there doing nothing, smoking weed and shit. And you'll even see in the videos that I post to the internet, the cops say, well, go back inside the house and smoke your weed. And how did they know I was smoking weed? Well, they were on my Facebook. And how do they know, what's on my Facebook? Because I didn't even get on there till 2012. Because like I'm telling you, when I created my book on my face in 2001 and gave it to the government, I never got onto Facebook and I didn't post my stuff for people. Nobody knew anything about me in this town. Only what I told them to their face. I'm here for a reason. And I will arrest cops. It includes sheriff's officers. That's why the judge, and I'll get the transcripts and show you, because they won't let me use the video that I took inside the sheriff's office of Judge Valerie Haynes saying this. But she says straight out, the second time I went in there, because I gave her top secret paperwork and I called her up and told her, I posted the video that I went and got from PD of their body camera footage. And how did I know how to do this? Well, I'm telling you, in 2010, when I went to the VA mental hospital, I told my people what they were doing, and we put them in body cameras. And next, the sheriff's office is going in body cameras. Read my paperwork from the investigation that I just did while I was in there talking to the sheriff's officers and the inmates. See everything that I wrote down. See if it's a bunch of crap. Read it. All the kites, all that stuff's on there. But the jail is totally different now than it was 10 years ago. The mental hospital is totally different now than it was even 5-6 years ago. They weren't helping people. They were hurting people. And yeah, some people belong in jail when they're on drugs and they're on alcohol and they're on, whatever. But once they're not on that stuff and you go into the jail, they're not bad people. They're just in bad situations and they don't know how to deal with it, and they use the drugs to deal with it, and the government uses the drugs to make money off of the freaking people and take away their stuff. I tried to tell you, read my Facebook, Jason Morton, top secret, Facebook. It's really not top secret because it's not even my real Facebook. The videos that I have that I don't show people, and the pictures and the stuff and all the other stuff that I was doing from years ago went up on another site, my real Facebook. Sorry. Everybody's watching somebody. Everybody's using somebody. And I'll get the videos and I'll post them for you that they are making for me now. They're making the videos. They just don't want you to know how to get them. Well, you need the event number or the case number, and you can go down and order every CR case report just for the address or by name. You know, I went down there and I told them, and nobody told me how to do it. I already freaking have so much knowledge. That's why they don't want to see me in court, and they keep postponing it and postponing. If they had anything, I would have already been locked up for a long time, and I'd have gone to, not to the mental hospital, but I'd have gone to, you know, the Denver prison. But I've never really done anything bad. Drinking, you know, I've done drinking and driving. I once got in trouble for a domestic violence that my ex pulled a knife on me, and I pushed her and she hit her leg on the table. I called the cops in the Springs. I called the cops and told them what happened, and they arrested me. And I had to do the domestic violence classes, you know, but the case was dropped after I did everything that I was supposed to do, all the classes, the community service, and I've never hurt anybody since. And Martha will tell you, I never hurt her. And like I told the cops at the sheriff's office, if I was going to kill anybody, I would have killed that bitch. She took all my stuff, used me for years, but I was using her too, so it's not like, you know, it's just the way it goes. In 2010, when I found out what she was doing to me when I came back from New Hampshire, well, I even stayed with her after I got out of the mental hospital to prove to the VA, you know, that everything I said was true up there in Denver Mental Hospital. I did a report on them while I was in there too, because like I said, every time I go to a facility that's a government facility, after 2001, I was told to be who I said I am. Captain Jason Morton, Military Intelligence, NORAD Division, here, you know, watching this, watching that. What I started, I originally called Homeland Defense. The National Security Council turned it into Homeland Security in 2002. But it's not the only thing that I gave them. I gave them lots of stuff. Lots of ways to do stuff, lots of ways to manipulate the people. And don't think I don't feel bad about it. I feel very bad about it for lying to you guys. But I didn't do it to hurt any of you. I did it to help. The children, the old people, not the gangs, they stick up for themselves. I like the gangs. I like this city. It reminds me of New York. That's why I said in the videos, if everybody's corrupt, I'm okay with that. I really am. I'm fucking corrupt. But I'm not doing anything illegal. Everything that I do, it's legal. There's no laws against it. And I come up with things that the law hasn't thought of yet. And then they use them. They used my public card space. Martha sent that up to the FBI, and they created LinkedIn. And it's controlled by the government. But most things on the internet are controlled by the government. Very few things that people start on their own become successful without their government's backing. I belong in a mansion on the north side. I created the first solid state hard drive. I created a new type of RAM. I created Craigslist. I created MySpace or Facebook. just not the way that you think. And it sounds crazy, and that's okay with me. Because all Mark Zuckerberg did was create a program that could snatch up everybody's faces and names and stuff off of the internet. When I first started, I was doing them one at a time. And Karen Morton can tell you, she probably just thought that I was looking at porn and looking at all the sick stuff on the internet, because most of the people on there that are sickos are not what they seem and not who they say they are. Well, we need to get them all on one site where we know who they are, what they're doing. We can ping their IP addresses. We can call up their internet companies and find out exactly who they are. That's why when those banditos came to me asking me about software that they shouldn't know about, it set me off. They had no idea that Martha said Scooter was going to kill me and my kid in 2010. I called him up and I fucking told him, I want to come over there with my sniper rifle and I'm going to kill you and your fucking wife since she's there. And he said, no, bro. No, she's making that stuff up. I didn't say that. And then come to find out when I went to Sprint, because Sprint's in on it, Martha had my business phone, because I had 2 phones at that time. And I was wondering why I couldn't get my phone back. The cops wouldn't, but I found out why, because she was on the phone with the sheriff's office. She wasn't on the phone with Scooter. And I wish I could have apologized to him, but he died. Now, it had nothing to do with me, but my friend Ed Sandoval will tell you, when I went to jail or went to mental hospital in 2010 when I came back from New Hampshire, because Martha thought that I wasn't coming back because my little brother was trying to hold me hostage because CIA told him to take my plane ticket. But I manipulated my way back into a second plane ticket by threatening to sue the airline, since I was a disabled veteran, and I told them straight out that I was on medication when I got the plane ticket and that I needed help, because it was one of those machines where your plane ticket is printed up. It wasn't, at the ticket counter. It was through one of those machines, and he took the plane ticket. So when I went to go through the boarding process, then I couldn't find the plane ticket. I went back to them and I told them, and they fixed the whole thing anyway. But when I got back, Martha, who was FBI, she was a background investigator. If you wanted to get into the military or, anywhere in the government, she did the background investigation to see if you qualified. She wasn't really, but she's a confidential informant for the sheriff's office and a snitch who was getting paid for it. Because even when I was at the sheriff's office this time when I got arrested, and I went down and decided this is what I was going to do, go out and let everybody know who I am. And I told them that it was my lawyer who told me to do this stuff, but it's not my lawyer. It's just me. I'm my freaking lawyer. Always have been. Always will be, because I can't trust anybody else. The criminals, and the biggest criminals there are the government. Government was set up to protect itself. It's not out to protect you. Sometimes a criminal gets off because he has a good lawyer. But really, government's set up for that sucker to get in trouble unless he's got a lot of money and he's paying to get out of it. But a person who doesn't have any money, and like the poor people here in Pueblo that remind me so much of my Indian brothers and sisters on reservations, and they're just trying to make it, just trying to live, doing what they have to do. And it's understandable. I'm not mad at them. We set it up that way. I showed them how money could be made off of helping them people instead of money being made keeping them in there longer, getting them in trouble while they're in there, setting each other up. I shouldn't have done it, but I didn't care about criminals at that time. I believed they needed to stay in jail. But like I said, once I got in jail and I saw the way disabled veterans were being treated, I wanted to help them. And in the process, I got to talking with all the other inmates, and most of them were good guys. They just got a raw deal. So I started helping them too. And believe what you want. Anybody who knows me knows I've never lied to them. Only way that I lie is either not telling you something, but I won't physically to your face. I didn't turn people in for drugs. We don't care about drugs. We don't care, like I said, about tobacco. We don't care about firearms. We'll sell you a Scud missile as long as you don't use it on us. And that's just the truth, and nobody wants to say it. Well, there's a reason we haven't gone to a credit card system of, money. Who controls this country? I tried to explain to everybody the top 2%. And the banks, their names, Central Bank of America is not an American bank. Look into it. I can't tell you guys or show you guys things that are going to get my daughter or my family hurt, and they threatened everything. Threatened me, threatened my kid, did everything to tell me to shut up, and I still told them to fuck off. And told them to their faces at the sheriff's office, they're a bunch of pussies, and all the fucking criminals, they're a bunch of pussies. And I'll meet them any day, in here or out on the streets, and kick their faggot asses. And they won't come fuck with me. Nobody will come fuck with me because they know who I am. I kick people's doors in, and I fuck with them. I used to go to the jail on purpose just to mess with people. When I get bored, I come up with things. I make things, I invent things, I test things. Ask why we need drones everywhere. Why do we need drones in space? Why do we need drones under the water? Why do we need drones underground? Why do we need drones on the ground surface itself? What is the government afraid of? And you'll start to understand. Why is Microsoft building things underground? Why has the government been building things underground for as long as you can think of? Why was it okay back in the day to build bomb shelters and believe, but now when I said that I was going to knock out my basement floor, and I'm crazy. This is just the way it is. And I don't care. I really don't. But I'm not letting my daughter I don't care about you people, what you think of me. But I don't even care what my ex thinks of what I've done or what I say, or her mother or her family. They can all fuck off. The only person I care about are my two daughters. And I can't let them think that their dad is something that he's not. I will fix this. And I'll keep posting late.